Hey, everybody, we are live. I'm Neil Smith, and I am so glad to be with you here as we're wrapping up 2019. I just did a podcast about wrapping up social media in 2019. I did that for the Social Media Church podcast. So, really focusing in on how social media affected churches in 2019 and looking ahead to 2020. And I thought I would just do that here on some of my personal social media platforms and talking more holistically about social media. Now, I will say, as I go into 2020, I am focusing significantly on helping church leaders this year. So if you are a church leader, I hope that you'll pay extra attention. I've got something really exciting happening after the first of the year that I can't announce yet, but after the first year, be paying attention for something exciting happening. If you would comment and let me know where you're joining from and who you are, and so I can see that here in my various posts. I'm going to try to then track here along on LinkedIn because that doesn't come in through. Here we go. Hey, Garrett, thanks for joining. And so I would love to just track with you and engage with you in conversation here. So let me know where you're joining from, what you do, maybe your role, and where you are. Garrett, congratulations too on your new role. Excited for you and what you're doing there at Hill Country Bible Church. So let's talk about social media a little bit in 2019 and some of the exciting things that happened. I would love to hear from you too. Comment what were some of the highlights for you as you look back on 2019 in the world of social media? What stands out? What were some of the kind of big areas of impact in the world of social media? I'm going to share what I believe to be some of those big areas as we recap 2019. I'm using StreamYard to do this, by the way. I jumped in on live streaming. I did, several years back, especially when Periscope became popular, and then Facebook Live, and now that I'm still beta testing LinkedIn and testing out the engagement on that platform, and using StreamYard to stream out of and streaming to multiple platforms simultaneously. And so I'm always excited to see and try new technologies and how they work and how they engage. And so I would also love to connect, and I am most engaged on Instagram as a platform, but I'm also a very active Twitter user. So at Neil Smith on Instagram and Twitter, and pretty much every social network, LinkedIn as well. Would love to connect with you personally, and obviously on other platforms. And so we're connected on one platform at this point if you're watching this, but would love to connect with you personally on other platforms. This is the first thing that jumped out to me in 2019 is Facebook began prioritizing groups. Now, maybe they prioritized beginning before 2018, but it felt like Facebook was all about Facebook groups in 2019. And so, even every time I go to Times Square, there's a new Facebook groups billboard up. I see them all in the subway here in New York City. So it's interesting how they're even using traditional media to promote their function and feature. And I felt like 90% of what I did on Facebook was Facebook groups. And so it really was interesting to see how people engaged with Facebook in this new medium, utilizing Facebook groups. And so it really is where people are, and they're building communities. That's what Facebook has really prioritized and shifted their mission towards, rather than just connecting the world, but building healthy community. And so I think that's been an interesting development. Facebook naturally has been in a bit of hot water this year, but Facebook is still king when it comes to social media, and even beyond just Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram, and the incredible growth of Instagram this last year. And then the other big announcement that Facebook had this year was Libra. Facebook was basically creating, or is creating in 2020, their own money. Now, it's not just Facebook's money, to be clear, but they're building essentially a cryptocurrency, although crypto people would often say it's not a cryptocurrency because it's not decentralized, but essentially a currency built on the blockchain, and they're bringing in several different other entities to oversee that currency. But Facebook is creating money, and I think that's an interesting announcement. And then even what happened when it comes to trust and data issues when it came to Facebook. So that was a big part of social media in 2019. And I think will continue to be interesting to see how this develops going into 2020. The other thing connected to Facebook is Instagram. And I feel like where we saw the most growth in 2019, now I don't have data to back this up, but Instagram surpassed 1 billion active users or 1 billion monthly active users on their platform. It might have even hit 1 billion daily active users. I don't know that data. We'll have more data here at the end of the year. I believe. And then YouTube and LinkedIn, significant growth on those platforms. I think one of the things that's interesting about LinkedIn is it's really established itself as the go-to place beyond just resume building, but to build relationships and to interact with other people online and on social media from a professional standpoint, where Facebook is our personal engagement and even Instagram. And then Twitter and LinkedIn are a little more professional. Now, Twitter is more niched around news and information, where LinkedIn is more of a social network around interaction and community building. And then I would add to that, Nextdoor was a significant platform that grew around as a niche social network around neighborhoods. And so I think we're beginning to see more and more niche social network, even like networks, even things like Bleacher Report around sports. And so I think it's interesting as we look back on 2019 and how there are new social networks still coming into the scene. And with that, one of those social networks is TikTok. So the explosion here at the end of 2019 of TikTok, I remember at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, I remember just getting a ton of YouTube ads for TikTok, and finally downloaded it and started paying more attention to it. And here at the end of the year, we're seeing, so many celebrities jumping on it and so much engagement happening, and really people becoming celebrities on TikTok. And we saw Old Town Road, the hit song that was born on TikTok. And so really, when I say born there, it really exploded on TikTok and then created such popularity there. So really interesting to see this world and a new platform really coming in and getting such unique and significant traction. And so I think it's interesting to see all that's happened in 2019. And I think sometimes when we think, okay, now social media is what it is and it's established, and then things can just rock and shift all over the place. And so I expect 2020 to be no different, that we'll see things, unexpected things that we weren't anticipating. One of the things that I'm really excited about is a new platform that's coming on Valentine's Day this year, voice.com. If you want to go check that out, Voice is the name of the platform, but it is a social network built on the blockchain. So it is a decentralized social network, which I don't conceptually fully understand, but I am intrigued by, as somebody that's very interested in blockchain and cryptocurrency, to see what that will be. And Block One is building that out, and they do some really interesting things on building on blockchain technology. So that is intriguing to see. So one of the things I do every year is I choose a social network, and I prioritize it, and I personally invest, and I log in on an almost daily basis and say, I'm gonna really dig into this platform this year, and a lot of that is I want to figure out how to grow engagement, how to grow connections on that platform, and how to most effectively create content and conversations on these platforms. And so looking back in 2017, that platform for me was Instagram. And I dug in deep to Instagram of, how do I grow a platform, a community on Instagram? How do I connect with people effectively on Instagram? How do I use this social network? I think it's emerging. And sure enough, it sure did. And so people often ask me, how did I grow? Now, I don't have a massive following on Instagram, but I think I have about 17,000 followers. And that came from really prioritizing it now 3 years ago. And the truth is I was engaged there before, and it was significant before then, but a lot of it is getting it early. So specific platforms, and I could not have grown it as much as I did today because it's a little more saturated, a little more challenging to kind of emerge at such a rate. And so things begin to snowball. And then last year I jumped onto YouTube. Now YouTube also not a new platform, but it was a platform that I was not engaging on personally. And so I started a vlog, and I went through the process of figuring out, what am I going to do? I'm not a video guy. I don't have a good video camera. I don't know what to do, but I got to figure out, how do I create good videos? How do I create a system for creating content, uploading content, figure out things like thumbnails and engagement and subscribers. And here in New York, I have this access to this YouTube space, but I have to have 10,000 subscribers. How am I going to grow 10,000 subscribers? So I really created a challenge for myself to build a YouTube channel and then grow it to 10,000 subscribers. And this year I actually hit that mark. So I didn't hit it in 1 year, which was my hope. But I did hit it about 1.5 years into having a YouTube channel. And I was just looking at my YouTube channel earlier. And since I started it, I've now had over 300,000 video views. And, I think my average, that might be over 1 million minutes watched now, probably over 1 million minutes watched on my YouTube channel. And so just incredible what just prioritizing that platform has been. And I would say YouTube is probably my most significant platform where I have, I think I have about 1,000 video views a day now on that platform, and it just keeps growing every day. And so fascinating to see how that prioritization 2 years ago made in growing that platform. And then this year I prioritized LinkedIn. So I'm actually here on LinkedIn Live. And I'm engaging on LinkedIn in a more significant way and prioritizing this platform to really build community and create professional interactions and relationships. And I saw my connections grow and actually triple this year just by me prioritizing content and interactions and conversations. Now, a lot of it was I had one YouTube video about LinkedIn that was about, is LinkedIn Premium worth it? That then people were going from that video to following me on LinkedIn. So that's been interesting how multiple, other social networks drive people into the other. So they kind of support each other. And so LinkedIn was my priority in 2019, and I saw significant engagement growth there as I prioritized that. And what's interesting is Instagram hasn't dropped off. My growth has continued on Instagram, and my engagement and probably my preferred social network to be connected on was Instagram, and especially Instagram stories, and then YouTube. And so while I invested in YouTube, I also began to like certain YouTube creators. So I watch a lot of YouTube still today. In LinkedIn, I've connected with so many people that are probably even watching this video. We connected in a very personal way, in a very real way, a very professional way here with both the content I was creating and the engagement. I was intentional to find other creators and other professionals that I wanted to connect with and learn from them. And so that was fantastic to meet so many new people here on LinkedIn and then grow and connect with them professionally and personally. So that has been fun. So in 2020, where am I going to connect? Where should I focus? Now, I'm curious to know your thoughts and where you think maybe I should connect, or where you're connecting in 2020. But I want to share where I'm connecting in 2020, and that is Messenger. Messenger is part of the family of apps on Facebook. And it is a place that I would maybe say it's not a social network and it's a part of Facebook, but it is its own unique being as a part of social media and a part of how we engage on social media. And I have been an evangelist for Messenger bots for 2 years. Yet, and I studied them 2 years ago, and it was just like, man, everybody needs a Messenger bot. We need to dig in. And I have one for my personal, or for my Facebook page. I have one for several of the, almost every page that I manage. But I haven't prioritized it personally to really understand the nuances of Messenger bots and all that it can do from an automation standpoint, from an artificial intelligence standpoint, from a transactional standpoint. And so in 2020, I'm going to focus in on building my personal Messenger bot and for a couple of the brands that I own and personally manage, and really begin to understand what all can we do with both Messenger ads, with Messenger automation, with artificial intelligence built into Messenger bots. Because I believe that while Messenger is the first platform that I know of to really integrate bots from a social media perspective, I believe Instagram is going to have a Messenger platform or a bot opportunity within their direct messages soon. I believe Twitter will probably have that. I believe LinkedIn will have that. And so it's really intriguing to me to see what will happen in the world of Messenger beyond 2020. Now, one of the fascinating things to me is open rates on messages within Messenger are over 90%. For those of you in email marketing, you know that that doesn't happen. The only communication platform that is higher than that is SMS text messages. And so people often complain less than 5% of people see that like my page, see my content. Well, if you got them engaged on Messenger, 90% are seeing those posts or those messages. And so I think we need to prioritize Messenger. Now, I don't think it's always going to be 90%, but I think there are just some key things of learning about how to utilize this platform that I need to focus in on in 2020. So I'm excited. I'm so grateful that I prioritized Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn, and I think it has paid off from an investment standpoint. And this year I am leaning into Messenger, so I will likely be sharing about Messenger quite a bit and the things that I'm learning and how I believe you should use Messenger. While I do believe everybody needs to use Messenger, I don't believe that everybody needs to go all in on Messenger. I think the two platforms that you should probably be prioritizing, maybe three, is Instagram for sure, especially around a personal platform. LinkedIn, especially if you're a B2B business or organization in some ways or some way. So if you're organization to organization rather than organization to end consumer. And then YouTube. I think YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world. It is basically a video platform, a search engine, and then a social network third. But YouTube is in my mind the future of television. It's how people are consuming video content. The average view time is probably going to be over 10 minutes by the end of 2020. And so you're seeing the average person that sits down and watches YouTube is now sitting down at 40 minutes and spending over an hour a day on average watching YouTube videos. So there's such mass consumption happening there. I think everyone needs to be jumping into that platform. So YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, I think should be the priorities. I don't think we need to ignore and run away from Facebook. But what I'm prioritizing in 2020 is Messenger and really growing around Messenger bots and what to do with that. Chat Fuel is the tool that I use to build a Messenger bot. So StreamYard is what I'm using to do this live stream, and Chat Fuel is what I use to build Messenger bots. So I'm going to dig in deep. I'm going to get to know the customer support on Chat Fuel well, and they're going to hear from me, and I'm going to go to learn, and I would love to learn from you what you've learned around Messenger and grow together in 2020. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you will follow me on the other social media channels. So this is Instagram and Twitter. I hope you'll go connect with me on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and all the other platforms. I appreciate you watching this video. Would love it if you would share it with a friend. Let's connect again in 2020. Reminder, church leaders, I've got some exciting news coming at the beginning of 2020. So be looking forward to that. You can go to my website, nilsmith.com, sign up for my email list if you want to get an announcement and hear about that right away, or go to socialmedia.church. We'll also be announcing it on both of those platforms. So exciting stuff for church leaders going into 2020. I look forward to connecting with all of you as your social media guide in 2020. That's the recap of 2019. Thanks for watching.